Do you know this? Human organizations, exactly as we know them today, will not last much longer. And this is not because resources are lacking, nor because administrative structures are weak, but because they were built on a mistaken premise. They were erected on the idea that we are merely physical beings, limited to the body, to matter, to visible form. And that premise is incomplete. A deeper understanding points to something different. We are spiritual beings living in physical bodies, and we have been endowed with something extraordinary called intellect. This intellect is not merely the ability to reason about external facts. It is the tool that allows us to access the higher level of our own nature. When we learn to consciously use the intellectual factors of our personality, we begin to touch this higher side, and from there, we can transform any aspect of our physical world. For the average person, this statement may sound abstract or distant from practical reality. It may even seem too philosophical to have concrete application. However, as we deepen this idea, it begins to make sense in an almost inevitable way. When we start to study ourselves seriously, we realize that there are only two major reference points for this investigation: science and theology. There does not seem to be a third fundamental field that explains the nature of the human being in a comprehensive way. And, interestingly, when we analyze both carefully, we discover that they converge more than they diverge. If we observe the religious field, we notice that despite the enormous variety of denominations and traditions, there are only a few basic belief structures. There may be thousands of cultural variations, different names, rituals, and interpretations, but at the essential core, we find the same message. The human being is not merely matter. Each tradition may use different terms, but the central concept remains. We are something beyond the physical body. It is curious to note that many people defend their religion as the only correct one, even without deeply knowing either their own tradition or others. Still, when we examine them carefully, we realize that all of them point to the same essential truth. There is a non-physical dimension to our existence. Truth can be compared to the center of a city. It does not matter from which direction you come. You may enter through different streets. You may take different paths. But when you reach the center, you are in the same place. The perspective may vary, but the final point is the same. The same happens with the understanding of our spiritual nature. When we turn our attention to science, we find an equally powerful statement. You are energy, not as a metaphor, but as a physical reality. For decades, scientists have stated that the atoms and electrons that make up the human body contain an extraordinary amount of potential energy. What we call the body is not solid in an absolute sense. It is a vibrational structure. There is enough energy concentrated in the human body to produce an impressive amount of power. And yet, we hear people say that they have no energy. That statement reveals how far we have drifted from understanding what we truly are. We are, essentially, a mass of energy organized into a specific vibrational pattern. The body we inhabit vibrates constantly. It emits radiation. There is an energetic field around each person. The body is in constant renewal, releasing and creating cells at a surprising speed. This continuous flow indicates movement, transformation, and energetic exchange. And this is not merely theoretical. At the beginning of the 20th century, photographic methods were developed that were capable of capturing the energetic discharge around objects and living beings. These images showed variations in density and color, indicating that the energetic field changes as a person's internal state changes. As someone's mental image transforms, the body's vibration also changes. The energetic field shifts in density and tone. This suggests a direct link between thought and physical vibration. Moreover, we all possess an internal faculty capable of perceiving these variations. Many times, we can sense someone's emotional state before they say a single word. We perceive tension, joy, anxiety, or serenity simply through presence. This happens because we are interacting on energetic levels, even if we are not consciously aware of it. When we deepen this analysis, we realize that the visible side and the invisible side of existence are connected. What we call matter is merely energy vibrating at a certain speed. Imagine a glass of water. We call it glass and water because we recognize its form and function. However, in essence, both the glass and the water are energy. The ring that touches the glass is energy. The finger that holds the ring is also energy. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. If we add heat to the water, its vibrational speed increases. The substance remains energy, but its form changes. It stops being liquid water and becomes vapor. If we continue increasing the vibration, it transforms again, assuming another condition we call gas. At each stage, the essence remains the same. Only the frequency changes. The name changes because the vibration has changed. Frequencies are connected to one another. There is no rigid line separating one from another. It is like the colors of a rainbow. There is no exact point where one ends and another begins. They blend gradually. In the same way, the vibrational levels of energy interconnect. What we call physical, astral, or etheric are merely classifications based on frequency, but everything is part of the same continuum. Physical vision is not sufficient to fully perceive this because it is a sense limited to the visible spectrum. To understand this connection, we must rely on the higher faculties of the intellect. Through understanding, we begin to perceive that the visible and the invisible are two sides of the same reality. Spirit manifests through its polar opposite. The non-physical expresses itself in the physical. We therefore have the capacity to connect with this power that we may call spirit. Through the intellect, we can transform this connection into ideas. And an idea, when understood and applied, inevitably becomes a result. Nothing is created from nothing, and nothing is destroyed. Energy merely changes form. Transformation is the constant principle. And to understand this is to understand that true creation is not producing something non-existent, but converting energy from one state to another, from one frequency to another, from an idea into concrete manifestation. When we understand that everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies, we begin to realize that the distinction between what we call spiritual and what we call physical is not an absolute separation, but a difference in degree. Just as water can appear as liquid, vapor, or gas without ceasing to be the same substance, the energy that constitutes the human being can also express itself on different levels. The physical body is only the densest form of this expression. What we cannot see with our eyes continues to exist. It simply vibrates at a different speed. This understanding profoundly changes the way we see ourselves. If we are essentially energy, then we are not limited to a form that occupies space. The body is the instrument, but it is not the totality of the being. And if there is a non-physical dimension that sustains the physical one, then the point of origin of any transformation must exist at this subtler level. Change does not begin in matter. It begins in frequency. The intellect plays a decisive role in this process. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Through the intellect, we can access the higher side of our nature and direct this energy toward a specific purpose. An idea does not arise from nothing. It is a form of energy that gains definition in the mind. And when an idea is held with clarity and understanding, it begins to take on concrete form. The result is simply the materialization of a frequency that already existed. When we observe the rainbow as a metaphor, we realize that there are no abrupt breaks between the colors. Each tone blends into the next. The same occurs with levels of vibration. The physical is not isolated from the spiritual. It is a continuation of it. The difference lies only in density. This perception allows us to understand that what we do not see is just as real as what we touch. The limitation lies in the physical senses, not in the existence of reality. The fact that we can photograph energetic fields demonstrates that the invisible can be detected when we use appropriate instruments. In the same way, the intellect is the internal instrument that allows us to perceive and understand dimensions beyond ordinary vision. To develop understanding is to expand perception. And the more we understand the vibratory nature of existence, the more conscious we become of our own power of transformation. If everything vibrates, then every thought is also a vibration. Every mental image alters the body's frequency. This explains why a person's internal state directly influences their external expression. When the image in the mind changes, the vibration changes. And when the vibration changes, the form tends to follow. Spirit manifests through its polar opposite, and the invisible finds expression in the visible. Science states that nothing is created and nothing is destroyed. It is only transformed. Theology, in turn, teaches that there is a non-physical essence that sustains life. When we unite these two perspectives, we realize that both point to the same fundamental principle. Reality is the continuous transformation of energy. The body is organized energy. An idea is directed energy. A result is condensed energy. Therefore, when we speak of improving any aspect of the physical world, we are not talking about creating something from nothing, but about altering the vibrational pattern that gives rise to form. If energy changes, form changes. If frequency rises, manifestation transforms. And this change begins within, at the point where the intellect connects with the greater power that sustains all things. If what I'm saying makes sense to you, and you feel ready to deepen this experience, I've left a more complete material in the pinned comment. You don't need to look at it now. Just remember it when the time feels right. This, understanding that we are spiritual beings living in physical bodies, is not merely a philosophical statement. It is recognizing that the origin of all experience exists at the vibrational level. It is understanding that matter is a consequence, not a cause. And by mastering the conscious use of the intellect, we can transform energy into ideas and ideas into results, following the universal principle that everything is energy in constant motion, assuming new forms according to the frequency it expresses. When we begin to understand that everything is energy at different levels of vibration, an inevitable implication arises. If everything is energy, then thought is also energy. An idea is not something abstract and disconnected from physical reality. It is a specific vibrational pattern that exists on a subtler level, and that, when sustained, tends to express itself on a denser plane. The intellect is the tool that allows us to shape this pattern before it manifests externally. It functions as a point of contact between invisible power and visible result. If spirit always manifests through its polar opposite, then what we call the physical world is the condensed expression of a non-physical reality. They are not two separate universes, but two extremes of the same vibrational scale. Just as water does not cease to be water when it becomes vapor, spirit does not cease to be spirit when it manifests as matter. Only the frequency changes. The density changes, and the mode of perception changes. This view eliminates the idea of a rigid separation between the here and the beyond. What exists is continuity. The energy we call body is connected to the energy we call mind, which in turn is connected to what we call spirit. There is no absolute dividing line between these levels. They interpenetrate, just as the colors of a rainbow blend without defined boundaries. Understanding this continuity expands our responsibility. If we are immersed in a continuous field of energy, then everything we think, feel, and project participates in that field. The ability to sense another person's energy is a practical example of this interconnection. Many times, when we enter an environment, we immediately perceive the atmosphere. Even before a single word is spoken, we pick up on the emotional state present. This happens because we are interacting at a vibrational level. Our energetic field responds to the field of another. This perception does not depend on traditional physical senses, but on a subtler faculty that develops with understanding and attention. When a person's mental image changes, their bodily vibration changes. This has even been observed in experiments that captured the density and color of the energetic field. If the internal image alters the external vibration, then the mind exerts a direct influence on physical form. This reinforces the idea that the starting point of transformation is not the body, but the image held in the mind. Energy responds to the direction it is given. If we add heat to water and it transforms, we easily understand that a change in vibration produces a new form. However, we rarely apply this same reasoning to our own lives. If we elevate the vibration of thought, if we refine the quality of the idea we sustain, we are essentially adding energy to the internal pattern. And this pattern, when it reaches a certain level of intensity and clarity, inevitably manifests in concrete results. The statement that nothing is created and nothing is destroyed, only transformed, then acquires practical meaning. When we desire a result, we are not asking for something to emerge from nothing. We are participating in a process of energetic transformation. The idea is the first stage of form. The result is form made visible. Between one point and the other, there is continuity, not rupture. The intellect is fundamental because it allows us to consciously choose the idea we wish to sustain. Without the deliberate use of the intellect, we become subject to random images, external influences, and unconscious conditioning. But when we understand our energetic nature, we begin to take control of what we allow to occupy our mind. And by directing this mental energy consistently, we gradually alter the vibrational pattern that defines our experience. If everything vibrates at different frequencies, then we can understand that the difference between limitation and expansion is also vibrational. Restrictive thoughts carry a certain density. Elevated ideas carry another. As we align ourselves with broader ideas, our own vibration changes. And when the vibration changes, form responds, not by magic, but by energetic coherence. Therefore, understanding that we are spiritual beings living in physical bodies is not merely a matter of belief, but of observing the energetic nature of reality itself. The body vibrates, the mind vibrates, the idea vibrates. Everything is in constant motion. And within this movement, we have the capacity to consciously participate in the process of transformation. We can connect with this greater power, convert that connection into an idea, and allow that idea to translate into tangible results. In the end, the principle remains simple and profound. Energy assumes form according to the frequency it expresses. If we learn to understand and direct this frequency through the intellect, we will be actively participating in the transformation of our own reality. When we carefully observe what has been presented so far, we begin to realize that the central issue is not simply to state that we are energy, but to understand the practical implications of this. If everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies, then what we call the physical world is not something separate from the spiritual world, but merely a specific point within a continuous scale of vibration. This continuity eliminates the idea of a rupture between matter and spirit. What exists is only a difference in density. The example of water makes this extremely clear. We are not dealing with three distinct substances when we speak of liquid water, vapor, and gas. We are dealing with the same energy expressing itself in different vibrational states. The name changes because the form changes, but the essence remains unchanged. When we apply this principle to the human being, we understand that what we call the body is simply energy organized in a vibration slow enough to be perceived as solid. What we call spirit is that same energy at a higher vibration. This understanding completely changes the way we view the creation of results. If matter is condensed energy, then every physical result is energy that has taken form. And if energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, then any result we desire already exists potentially within the energetic field. The process is not one of absolute creation, but of transformation and reorganization. Here, the decisive role of the intellect comes into play. The intellect is not merely the capacity to accumulate information, it is the mechanism that allows energy to be directed. When you form an idea, you are organizing energy into a specific pattern. This organization is invisible to the physical senses, but it is not non-existent. On the contrary, it is the initial stage of any manifestation. An idea is energy structured at a subtler level. As this idea is sustained with clarity, focus, and understanding, it gains vibrational intensity. Just as heat added to water alters its state, sustained attention adds energy to the mental pattern. What was once only a diffuse possibility begins to gain definition. This process is neither instantaneous nor magical. It follows the same gradual logic of vibrational transformation. Another essential point is the interconnection between all frequencies. There is no rigid barrier between the physical and the non-physical. There is continuous transition. This means that what occurs at the invisible level inevitably finds a way to express itself at the visible level. The question is not whether there will be manifestation, but when and with what intensity. Vibration determines form. When we say that we can sense another person's state, we are acknowledging this interconnection. We do not need to see energy for it to exist. The immediate emotional perception we have when entering an environment demonstrates that we are constantly interacting within a shared vibrational field. The body vibrates, the mind vibrates, the environment vibrates. Everything is in constant exchange. If a mental image alters the vibration of the body, then what we hold internally is not neutral. It directly influences our external expression. A change in the internal image alters the density of the energetic field. This is not a matter of belief, but of vibrational coherence. Energy responds to the direction it is given. By understanding that spirit and matter are poles of the same energetic reality, we begin to see life as a process of expression. Spirit is not separate from the body. It manifests through it. The invisible is not distant from the visible. It sustains it. And the intellect is the tool that makes this bridge possible. Nothing is created from nothing. Nothing disappears into emptiness. Everything is transformed. When an idea becomes a result, there has been no absolute creation, but a change of state. Energy has moved from a subtler level to a denser one. This is the universal principle that both science and theology, each in its own way, point to. Therefore, understanding our energetic nature is not a philosophical abstraction, but a structural shift in perception. It means recognizing that what we see is only the visible part of a greater process. It means understanding that the point of origin of any transformation lies in the vibrational organization of energy. And it means accepting that, through the conscious use of the intellect, we can deliberately participate in this continuous process of transformation. If we follow this line of reasoning all the way to its conclusion, we are led to an inevitable realization. The greatest limitation of the human being does not lie in a lack of external resources, but in a lack of understanding of one's own nature. If we are energy organized at different levels of vibration, then living as if we were only matter is to operate with a reduced view of ourselves. And it is precisely upon this reduced view that many human structures have been built. When it is believed that the human being is only a body, everything comes to be treated solely in physical terms. However, if the origin of form lies in the invisible, then any system based exclusively on matter is ignoring the starting point of the process. The understanding that spirit manifests through its polar opposite reveals that matter is not something separate from the spiritual, but its expression. The visible is consequence. The invisible is cause. And the intellect is the instrument that allows this cause to be consciously directed. When someone understands this deeply, they stop identifying exclusively with external conditions and begin to observe the internal pattern that sustains them. The example of water continues to be a clear demonstration of the universal law of transformation. By altering vibration, the state changes. There is no miraculous creation of a new substance. There is energetic reorganization. If we apply this principle to human experience, we understand that personal transformation does not begin by trying to rearrange visible effects, but by adjusting the vibrational level that produces them. External change is the final stage of a process that began internally. This explains why the mental image is so decisive. When the image changes, the vibration changes. When the vibration changes, the density of the energetic field changes. And when the density changes, manifestation follows. This is not a matter of fantasy or thinking disconnected from reality, but of energetic coherence. The body responds to the mind because both are energy in different states. The spirit responds to the intellect because the intellect is the faculty that organizes the direction of energy. By realizing that nothing is created and nothing is destroyed, only transformed, we understand that everything already exists in potential. What we call possibility is energy awaiting reorganization. What we call a limit is merely a specific frequency that has not yet been altered. If everything vibrates, then everything can change state. The question is not whether transformation is possible, but whether we are willing to understand the mechanism that governs it. The constant energetic interaction between people and environments demonstrates that we are not isolated. We are immersed in a continuous vibrational field. Every sustained thought contributes to this field. Every organized idea adds a specific pattern to this invisible network. By understanding this, individual responsibility expands. We are not merely passive recipients of circumstances, we are active emitters of frequency. The intellect, therefore, ceases to be merely a rational capacity and becomes a creative power. It allows us to select ideas, maintain focus, and organize energy. It connects the spiritual level to the physical level. When an idea is conceived with clarity, it does not remain static. It initiates a process of transformation. The invisible begins to move toward the visible. If spirit always manifests through its polar opposite, then everything we see is the expression of something we do not see. This understanding completely redefines the concept of reality. Reality is not only what the senses capture, but what vibration sustains. The physical world is the result of organized frequencies, and if frequencies can change, results can change. The conclusion that emerges from this understanding is powerful. The human being is not a passive product of matter, but an active participant in the process of energetic transformation. We are conscious energy. We are capable of perceiving, organizing, and directing vibration. We are capable of transforming ideas into results because an idea is already structured energy. A result is merely condensed energy. When this truth is truly understood, the statement, "I have no energy," completely loses its meaning. We are energy. We live in a field of energy. We interact through energy. The only relevant question is the direction we give to this energy. Life ceases to be seen as a succession of random events and begins to be understood as a continuous flow of vibrational transformation. And here is the most impactful point of all. If nothing can be created or destroyed, only transformed, then the capacity for change does not depend on creating something external, but on internal reorganization. Power is not outside. It lies in understanding one's own nature. Spirit is not distant. It expresses itself through the body. Matter is not an obstacle. It is a vehicle. An idea is not fantasy. It is the initial stage of form. When we understand that we are spiritual beings living in physical bodies and that the intellect is the bridge between these levels, we realize that transformation is not an exception to the rule. It is the rule. Everything is in motion. Everything is vibrating. Everything is transforming. And within this universal movement, we have the capacity to participate consciously. It is not about creating a new universe, but about understanding what is already in operation. It is not about denying the physical, but about understanding its origin. It is not about escaping matter, but about recognizing that it is organized energy. And when this perception becomes clear, the limited view that we are only bodies dissolves. What remains is a deep and liberating understanding. We are conscious energy capable of directing energy. We are spirit manifesting in matter. We are transformation itself in action. If you have made it this far, the lesson that remains is not merely an inspiring idea, but a shift in perception that can completely change the way you see yourself and the world. Everything that has been presented converges toward one central point. You are not only what you see in the mirror. You are not just the body. the circumstances, the history, or the conditions that surround you. You are energy organized at different levels of vibration, and that energy is in constant transformation. The greatest change does not occur when the external world shifts. It occurs when you understand the nature of what sustains the external world. If everything is energy, then everything is in motion. Nothing is fixed, nothing is absolutely solid, nothing is permanent in its current form. The matter you touch is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. The body you inhabit is organized energy. The thoughts you have are energy structured at a subtler level, and the results you experience are condensed energy. This means that life is not a succession of isolated, random events, but a continuous process of vibrational transformation. What you call change is nothing more than energy taking on another form. What you call creation is energy being reorganized. What you call loss is energy leaving one state and entering another. Nothing disappears. Nothing arises from emptiness. Everything transforms. If this is the law, then you are not at the mercy of circumstances. You participate in the process. The intellect you have been given is not a secondary detail. It is the tool that allows you to consciously direct energy. When you sustain an idea, you are organizing energy. When you hold a clear mental image, you are shaping a vibrational pattern. And when that pattern gains sufficient intensity, it expresses itself as form. Most people live reacting to what they see. But what has been presented here shows that what is seen is consequence, not cause. If spirit manifests through its polar opposite, then the invisible is the origin of the visible. This means that true transformation begins where the eyes cannot reach. It begins in frequency. It begins in the mental image. It begins in the organization of internal energy. If you understand that water changes state when vibration increases, then you understand that transformation is natural when energy changes. The same principle applies to your own experience. If vibration changes, form changes. If frequency rises, expression transforms. There's no need to fight matter. There is a need to understand energy. The most powerful lesson is this: you already are what you seek to develop. You already are energy. You are already connected to the vibrational field that sustains all things. The question is not acquiring power, but recognizing the power that already exists. The question is not creating something from nothing, but reorganizing what is already available in potential. When you begin to see yourself in this way, your relationship with the world changes. Difficulties cease to be absolute barriers and become vibrational states that can be transformed. Limitations cease to be fixed identities and become temporary frequencies. The focus shifts away from effect alone and toward cause. You do not control everything that happens around you, but you can choose the idea you sustain within yourself. You can choose the image you feed. You can choose the direction of your attention. And by doing this consciously and consistently, you are altering the energetic pattern that participates in the construction of your reality. This requires responsibility. Because if you are conscious energy, then every thought carries vibrational weight. Every idea held with intensity adds force to the internal pattern. Every emotional state alters the density of your energetic field. You are not isolated. You are constantly interacting with the vibrational environment around you. The great revelation is not mystical. It is simple and profound at the same time. Everything vibrates. Everything is connected. Everything is transforming. And you are no exception. You are an active part of this process. Therefore, the final lesson is not merely to understand intellectually that we are spiritual beings living in physical bodies. The lesson is to live from that understanding. It is to stop defining yourself exclusively by material circumstances. It is to recognize that form is expression, not origin. It is to remember that energy responds to the direction it is given. If nothing can be created or destroyed, only transformed, then change is always possible. Not because something magical happens, but because the very nature of reality is transformation. The question that remains is, in which direction are you directing your energy? You can continue operating only at the visible level, reacting to forms. Or you can choose to act at the vibrational level, organizing ideas, adjusting frequencies, understanding the process. The choice is internal, and it is this choice that determines the quality of manifestation. In the end, what remains is a certainty. You are not limited to what appears solid. You are conscious energy capable of reorganizing energy. You are spirit manifesting as form. You are part of a continuous field of transformation. And when this understanding ceases to be merely a concept and becomes conviction, the way you live, think, and act inevitably changes. Because then you understand that you are not here merely to react to the physical world. You are here to participate in the process of transformation that sustains it. If this message truly resonated with you, if you felt that quiet inner shift, that sense that your mind is ready for something greater, I left a resource in the pinned comment that goes deeper into this process. I only recommend it for those who feel genuinely ready to accelerate their results, but follow it in your own time. If it calls to you, you'll find it there. What you just heard rests on a foundation that was built earlier. This video speaks about energy, vibration, intellect, and transformation. About understanding yourself as more than matter and recognizing that reality is the expression of organized energy. But the previous video explains how this internal reorganization actually happens in lived experience. How observation collapses reality. How identity determines which possibilities become concrete. And why repeating the same internal state leads to the same outcomes. Without that foundation, energy can sound abstract. With it, everything you heard here becomes precise and actionable. If you want to understand how the observer is formed and how changing the observer changes reality, the previous video is on your screen now.